Okay, so we're finished welding every joint on this thing. It's not great, but some spots are some of the best welds I've done so far, so there's that. I had to modify the mounts for the outer driving lights just because I didn't really have enough adjustment as far as being able to aim them with the way that we made the mounts the first time. Because the outer ones you want to face outward slightly, like you want them to point like that way, because they're the wider beam pattern, so you want it to like fill in the sides. And then the middle ones are the long range ones, which you want pointed straight forward. And the way we had it mounted before, with the angle on the bracket pretty much maxed out, I couldn't tilt them sideways because they would just start like trying to turn upside down. So I decided to change that up a little bit so I can mount it more properly, and I should be able to adjust it however we need to from there. So I got this thing semi-bolted up, and we're gonna put the lights on and see how they look. All right, so we got the lights bolted on, and there's a little bit more adjustment to them as far as like aiming them outwards, but I noticed that my big chunky welds are kind of in the way, so I might have to like grind a little bit further back. I actually allotted a little bit of space to allow the light to tilt because the base plate's pretty wide. My welds kind of took up most of that space, so it didn't actually help a whole lot. That being said, there is still a decent amount of left to right movement, but I'm gonna grind it down a little bit more so I can have even more range, because they're not wired up or anything, so I'm still not sure like where they need to sit as far as like what the beam pattern looks like. We're also not sure if we're gonna keep these exact lights, especially these outer driving light ones. It's just like one tiny little LED and this whole giant reflector. So I'm curious to see what that's gonna look like in the dark. But I wanted something that mimicked the old like Group B rally cars and like all the big headlights they had on the front of their hoods and stuff. And that's why I didn't want like the giant spider eye looking LED ones, because I just don't really like how those look. And these seem to be a pretty good compromise of like cost and quality. We'll see how that goes. Another thing is, I was gonna add the radar sensor here, kind of in between all the lights, but Dash actually did reach out to us, and they are addressing all the issues that we discovered in putting this front bar on a Armada. We don't really have a timeline as far as like when all that's going to take place. I imagine by the time Nistec gets the next shipment of bumpers, but you guys would have to contact them and see what the timeline looks like for that. But as far as we know, they showed us designs and updates of like all the issues that we found being addressed in their CAD files and stuff. One of which being what I mentioned was cutting out a bigger hole here and having the radar sensor mounted in there. And they said that they're going to be sending us an updated centerpiece once they have all the design like finalized and through manufacturing and everything. So we'll update you guys whenever we get that in. But as of right now, when I was driving it back from John's house with the lights on, our cruise control doesn't work at all now. So keep that in mind if you put lights up front here and you did put the sensor back here, it doesn't work at all now. Because I mean, it worked okay without the lights here, but now with the lights covering pretty much the whole sensor, I mean, it was to be expected. You're completely like covering it, so obviously it can't do its job. But I'm kind of debating whether I should like mount it in this assembly for now, just to have it working, or just waiting and see whenever we get that new centerpiece in from Dash and mount it in there properly. Because like I said, we don't know what the timeline for that looks like, and we probably want to go on some trips before then, so that would be a really nice thing to have. I don't know, what do you guys think? Should we add it in there for now, or wait? We're pretty much done with the fabrication, unless we decide to do that, but we'll probably be dropping it off to powder coating next. Then we'll do some beauty shots whenever we get it back. All right, so we finally got not finally actually, we got this back really fast this time. We got it back from Desert Powder Coating. They've always been our go-to for powder coating stuff. They did our roof rack and they always do a really good job. They did the brakes on the G37, also a great job on those. I was hoping the powder coat would make my welds look a little better, like smooth them over, but it kind of looks a little worse. I mean, it is what it is. I could have had John do all the welding, but then I'd never get any better. So I'm fine with it. This is like literally the best I've done on anything so far. Yeah, talk crap if you want to. Come at me. Now we just gotta bolt it up to the truck and hope we don't scratch anything. But side note, I did a satin black. This is I believe it's Prismatic Powder's Vulcan Black, which is like their satin, and it's slightly too glossy to match the finish on the dash bumper. If any of you guys are trying to match the color of the bumper, it's definitely a flat black, which somebody made the call on and I didn't listen. So yeah, listen to your wives.
Listen to your wives.
Yeah, all in all, it came out pretty good. This one, we're actually thinking about producing more of these. If anyone's interested, anyway. I know there's like 3 of you guys with this bumper out there right now. So if you guys like it, we would be down to make more of them. I wouldn't be welding them, just so you know. They will have like pristine, perfect stacks of dimes on them. Yeah, let us know in the comments if you like it, if this would be something you'd be interested in. And yeah, time to get it on the truck. Nice.